we are going to talk about finding exit targets when you are in a trade. And so the things that we need to understand first are points of interest. Points of interest. Points of interest are multiple things. Points of interest can be a level, a resistance level, a support level, a vwap, a moving average, also a trend line. Points of interest. Remember that word, points of interest. Things happen at points of interest. Three things that can happen at a point of interest would be a complete just breakthrough and ignore it, a bounce off of it and reversal, or a break, retest, and continuation. Those are the three things that can most of the time happen at a point of interest. Why do we care about this? When we are in a trade, we want to know what the next point of interest is going to be. So for example, today I mentioned Tesla puts. Tesla is testing VWAP right here, and puts could be an opportunity. Okay, so let's pretend that we did it, and I added it to my watch list. I didn't play it. I added it to my watch list when I was going to enter, and it was at like, I think the contract I was looking at was like $2.05 or something. So let's say that I got in. All right, I'm in. What do I want to look for next? I want to look for the next point of interest. What is the next point of interest? Ideally, it would be nice if it was the next level down, but unfortunately, moving averages exist, and we need to respect them. We need to acknowledge that they are there, and we need to treat them as a point of interest. So I got puts here, and this is my first point of interest. This is where something is going to happen. And I was watching this the whole time. It came down. When we were here, the contract I was looking at was already up 30%. 30%. That's already pretty sweet. So what do we do at our first point of interest? We can trim. So let's pretend that I bought like 10 contracts of puts right here. I'm going to hold until my next point of interest. The 5-minute 20 moving average is my first point of interest. This is a target. Something's going to happen here. Remember the three things that I said? The three things that I said that happens at a point of interest. It can break through it. It can reject off of it and reverse. It can break through, retest, and continue. And what happened here? It rejected. So it touched the point of interest and then it went up. This would be this is where you make decisions. Are you going to exit at the first point of interest? Are you going to trim and hold runners for stop near break even to see if you can get more to the next point of interest? So that's one kind of example of what do I want to look for next once I am in a trade. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as, okay, we're touching support, we bounced, now we're going to go to the next level. You have to acknowledge these moving averages because they are respected a lot of the time. Another example right here. We are now above VWAP, we're bullish, we're coming back down to retest it. A calls opportunity presented itself. Enter calls. What is your next point of interest? Your next level up. So this could be treated as a scalp. But this is what you are looking for once you are in a trade. What's your next thing? And it rejected here, came back to test vwap. Look at this stack. This is a stack of points of interest here. We have the vwap, we have a support level, we have the 50 moving average, we have the 20 moving average. This is a 1, 2, 3, this is a 4 stack right here of support. Let's say we entered calls here. What's our next target? Our first point of interest. And then why did we hit this wall? Why didn't we keep going to the next one? And I'm going to show you why. 10-minute chart is what I'm going to switch to. So we're at 10:45 a.m. $10.50, 10:40, 10:40, 10:50. Look at what we hit. We hit a point of interest right here that we didn't know about unless we switched time frames. This is the 10-minute 50 moving average, and this was a wall. I wish it was as simple as, all right, now we're going to just blast off to the next level. I really wish it was that simple. That would make our jobs a lot easier. But we have to acknowledge these points of interest. They are important. What is their purpose? Well, so levels, support levels, trend lines, they serve as, if they are underneath, they're going to serve as a support zone. If they are above, they're going to serve as a resistance zone. And so those are levels. Levels stay the same. Levels don't move. What does move throughout the day, constantly, vwap. vwap is moving throughout the day. Moving averages are moving throughout the day. So you have to acknowledge them. They serve as a support or a resistance depending on if they are above or below the current price. For pullbacks, how do you know the difference between a pullback and a change in trend? If it holds, I mean, it's really that simple. I like to use the 5-minute chart the most. And if we are testing vwap right here, I want to see the next 5-minute candle open above vwap. Look, this candle opened, looks like it opened underneath vwap. So I'm thinking down. Now my mindset is down. The down did not go very far. Probably because of this moving average right here. So when things are like, when a moving average is so close, what does that mean? It means that your reward opportunity is small. You're going to face resistance in the direction that you want almost immediately if you have something like a moving average like right there. If this moving average wasn't here, I would be like, oh yeah, we broke, and now we're going to probably retest, and then there's no moving averages in the way. We are down, we are in free fall to the next point of interest. This could be a huge put. But because of this right here, our reward opportunity is small. This is a small window. Out of the three things that may happen at a point of interest, what is the usual that happens? No, it varies. There's not something that just, usually this is what happens. I would say it changes depending on momentum, movement, strength. And like I said multiple times, my favorite is, if I can get an example of my favorite, probably, I'm not seeing one. This one might work. No, hold on. So I want to say this is on the 5 minute, but this looks like this could have potentially been my favorite. We have an uptrend move. We broke VWAP. This next candle looks like it came down to retest and then continued. My favorite is break, retest, continuation, because a break, depending on how big and green the break candle looks, you are catching strong momentum. You're catching a strong push in a direction. The break, this is a strong break. That's a big candle that went straight through VWAP. Looks like it didn't even acknowledge it or kind of like slowly go through it. It looks like it just busted through. Next candle is the retest. You can see that bottom of the wick would have been the retest. Entry for calls and continuation. Why is that my favorite? Because a break signifies a lot of strength, a lot of momentum in a direction. The retest is the opportunity for you to jump on that train, jump on that rocket, jump into that momentum and join the party, join the ride up. That's why break, retest, continuation is my favorite. And unfortunately, today, you remember today I talked right here. This morning I was talking about this large time frame support trend line. I said this is a big one because this is a very large time frame one, and underneath that there's like a huge gap down. There's no other supporting trend lines in sight. Like this is huge. Unfortunately, we did not get the retest. This is just blast. It just broke through and dumped hard. And I would have been chasing if I jumped in. My favorite is the break, retest, continuation, join in the retest and join the ride down. This just blasted through. So if I would have been chasing. I don't know if it was going to reverse, if this is a fake. So yeah, unfortunately this is a huge move down that I did not get to catch. Profit alerted Pepsi calls earlier today, and I pulled it up on my chart. He alerted it, I think, around here or here, and then I pulled it up and I saw this. I drew this after his alert. I saw a resistance trend line because I connected the dots and then just let that line continue, drag it out. And when the stock interacts with it, one of those three things is going to happen: a rejection, a break, retest, continuation. My favorite is the break, retest, continuation. Here's what happened. We broke. This candle retested. This was my entry for calls to join him. We continued. And I said during the continuation, I think at this candle, the position I think was already up like 10%, 12%. And I said, watch out for this 5 minute, 20 moving average. This is going to be your first point of interest. This would be a trim. This could either be a trim or an exit, depending on how you feel. Next candle broke above. If you had 10 contracts, you can sell half right here and see what happens. Set your stop above entry to protect your green and not see red. Broke above. This ran to the next. Looks like we kind of hit a wall right here. So I don't know what this wall is. Probably on a different time frame. This is probably a moving average. But I think at this point he hit 20%, 25%, and that's where he took his exit, I believe. But you could hold. It comes down, it kind of retested this 20, bounced off of it, and then you had the 50 right here. The 50 was your next point of interest, and it was a wall. Back down it went. This is why it's important to have these on your chart. You don't have them on your chart, then you're just kind of trading blind without really ideas on where to exit, where to take profit targets. No one knows why this stopped right here. This is kind of a help. This is an idea of why it stopped. Hopefully, that answers some questions about when I enter a position, what is the next step? I need to start looking at exit targets, trim targets. So that should wrap up that segment of how to find exit targets. Points of interest. You need to know points of interest. Levels, trend lines, moving averages, vwap. 3 things happen at points of interest. Rejection of the move and continue, or rejection and then reversal. Breaks. Let's see, where's a break? Not really a break here. This is a break. This is a break. Break, retest, continuation. That's that is the lesson of the day.